since I have to wait still for the A-pillar frame parts, I'm working on the intercooler mounting. I first was contemplating in mounting it vertically in front of the engine, and now I decided to mount it horizontally. The only issue would be a little bit of heat soak from the engine, but then with a duct from the side and some air moving around in the engine bay shouldn't be a really issue. Yeah, so I made one simple stand on the left side already, and now I'm working on the right side, which is a little bit harder because, the obvious choice is to use the old steering pump bracket, but that's a little bit too asymmetrical. That's the word. Thank you. And now I just have to make a similar stand like this from this bracket, welded. It's aluminum. And then, then it's just attached to 2 points, so it should, in theory, still be able to rotate. Not sure if I want that. The pipes will probably keep it horizontal, or maybe it's good that it has a little bit of movement. Yeah, I don't know. Well, at least make the bracket, and then we'll see from there. So I'm about to cut off these original mounting points for the intercooler because I don't need them. So a trick I learned in the Peter Björk's workshop is to use a candle. And this is a one that's already not in the best shape. So just cut some slits in the candle, and then you can cut aluminum without it clogging up. So easy fix. So always have a candle in your workshop. worry about the finish on the intercooler. I'm gonna sand it and paint it black later. And the exit diameter for the turbo turbine housing is a little bit smaller than the actual piping, so it's 3-inch pipes. But the turbo is only 51 mil, which is a little less than an inch smaller, so 2 points or whatever, 51 to 76 mil. So I printed a template here and transferred it to a piece of 3 mil aluminum plate. And gonna cut that now. So this is the result straight from the brake press I used for the initial bends. You can still see them on the inside. And then what the gap opening was like 6 centimeters or whatever, because then they couldn't close anymore. Can't go round, at least not with these small diameters. Then I used the roller to roll the last few degrees, so to say. And now I'm going to go to the vise, put this in the vise, clamp it down, and then weld this seam shut. And then this diameter should be 51 and this should be 76. Then I'll weld an adapter. No, not on this side. This side will go straight to a tube, but this side will get an adapter with some ribs for your pleasure. For the silicone hose, the coupler that goes between the turbo and the intercooler piping. So yep, this is more of a success already than I anticipated, so that's good. There we are, after some more aluminum welding, which I don't really like and I'm really not good at, as you can see. And also a little bit of polishing on the belt grinder. I finished the intake pipe. No? Yeah, well the hot side of the intake pipe. So it goes from the turbo, 190-degree bend and a little bit of a bend because I wanted to have this in the center of the car, the actual cooler. And a fancy aluminum clamp instead of silicone, so the only silicones will be that side and the other side to allow for a little bit of flex. Well, this also flexes, but anyway. And that's it. So next for the intercooler piping will be going with a 90-degree bend down like this, and then here's the intake. So there will be a 180-degree silicone coupler, which is by far the easiest solution. That goes round and up into the intake. And then here are the two couplers for the actual coolant that runs to the intercooler, because it's not an intercooler, it's a charge cooler, officially a water-cooled intercooler. That will go with a hose, a little bit of a tube, then a little bit of hose, because the engine has to flex. And then to here, connect to a bracket that will be here, that goes down, and in this old drive shaft tunnel will go to the front, and there will be a cooler and a pump that actually cools the intercooler. But halfway we're already done. So the mounts are here. They are 8mm thick aluminum sheet, so that's super sturdy. And one pipe's already done. So really happy with the result. And it's going to be painted black, obviously. And then I won't be running the covers on the engine. This also has to be cleaned somewhere in the future and painted, but that's not a priority at all at this moment of the build. So we're in the XC70. It's actually been a while since I drove the car, because there are some issues with the coolant. Not sure what, but I just checked the floor inside the car, and luckily it's not the heater core that's leaking, because that would be a nightmare to fix. What is the problem, I still don't know. I suspect a hose that goes to the turbo, but then I have to have the car on the lift, and then the Joven has to go aside, to be put aside, and that's all a lot of work, and I don't want to do that. But the XC70, it really is nice, since I made all the upgrades with the lights and the new wheels, and I also installed a quad lock phone mount with a charger, so now I have a better Google Maps navigation stuff. There is also the RTI in the car, but that's so old school that I don't want to use that. And also there is this big LED bar on the roof, which is nice-ish, but the best thing I did was to install these small lights on the corners of the hoods. They kind of point in a 45-degree angle from the car, and they light up the ditches, which is really nice. Because when cornering, that's actually the direction you go, so it's good to have a little bit better sight. And also with all the wildlife, the deer and the moose and everything here in Sweden, it's good to have a little bit better visibility in the countryside. Don't need it in the city, obviously, but where we live in the countryside, it's good to have. Anyway, very long story about the XC70. Still very happy with it. Just a coolant leak issue somewhere. Not weird for a 20-year-old car, 21-year-old even. But we're on our way to Matthias Ledin Motorsport to pick up the last pieces of the puzzle that's called the Joven frame, the Mailtruck frame. He just finished. He just texted me that he finished the A-pillar tubes, and also the tubes that I just last minute sent him a drawing for, the tubes that go from the top mounts from the front suspension to the frame. So that means that, like, if I have these parts and if I install them, the front wheels and the back wheels and everything is attached to each other, and it still needs a lot of triangulations and crosses and stuff, but like the basic shape of the frame is then there. So we're 2 months in now. That's kind of a good achievement, I think, getting this far in this little time. Anyway, so yeah, let's go drive to Nura and pick up the tubes, and we'll see if they fit in the back of the XC70. Otherwise, we'll just tie them to the roof. That's why I bought these the roof rack, purely to just fetch steel somewhere if needed. So yeah, let's see. So I made the A-pillar frame tube thingy-majingy fit. It's nice and, well, snug as far as possible. So it starts in this junction here where this tube goes, and the cross tube for the rear will also will mount there. So this is a very strong point. And then, well, it's now just balanced, it's not that welded in, but it will be sort of like this. So down here the runner will be parallel with this line here, and then in the end it makes a bend. I designed it like this so I have maximum clearance here. Doesn't matter on this side, but obviously on that side where room's already tight, space already tight. Yeah, when I have all the room necessary or available. And there will be a bar going across as soon as I have these tubes welded in. And then I can go through the dashboard, so to say, to the firewall and mount to these points. And then with the hoops that are over there, I can go like this and down to the front. And that means, if that's done, everything, the wheels and everything, the front and the back are connected, are a closed loop, so to say. But before that, I have to do this one. Well, this one's done. I can weld it in, but I'm going to take it out, copy it first on the other tube, the lengths and everything, because I want to have it exactly the same. I should have done this on these tubes, but I didn't because, well, I welded it in and I was like, oh shit, I should have copied it. So now I'm going to do the smart thing and copy it first. Then after that, I'm going to take the tubes out and spray some grundfärg, some, what's it called? Primer paint on the frame. And then after that, I'm going to just cover the top of each tube here with some film. This is because the cabin, as soon as the A-pillar and everything is welded in, the cabin can't move anymore. All other panels will be removable, but this whole section will be permanently fixed to the car. And this is just resting on the tubes, which means that if it's going to move, and it's not if it's going to, when it's going to move a little bit, it will rub off the paint from the frame, and the frame starts rusting there. And well, this car won't live for like 100 years, but still, I want to preserve it as much as possible. So cabin goes up, spray paint, and then tomorrow I can continue with the rest. But first, copy this part to the other side, so that's done, and then I can do the painting later today. So I applied some wrapping film. No, it's sign film actually, but it's in between. It's on the tubes where the body of the cabin will hit the tubes, and it will probably rub a little bit. Even though I'm going to fixate the cabin to the frame later on the rear and front side, so it shouldn't move much. But even with just some like pressure, like standing on the floor, whatever, it will probably touch and do, and then it will rub away paint. And the rubber will rub away this film also, but it's just a little protection layer. Don't worry about how it looks, because as soon as the frame is finished, I will be painting everything yellow, also the underside. So only the parts that it's really not visible will be red. It's just leftover film I had, so that's why it's red. Okay, as you can see, the A-pillar tubes are now welded in. Well, tack welded, but yeah, I don't want to make everything permanent, especially with places that are very hard to reach with an angle grinder. But the next step will be to create a crossbar up top, and also on this level where the, well, let's call it a dashboard bar. So that's where the top mount for the front suspension will mount to. And I'm not sure what height this should go, so I'm just going to drill a large hole here now with a hole saw in the well, dashboard, firewall, whatever vertical thing begin. And let's just see where we end up. That's where we go from there. question I get asked a lot is that this tattoo, do you use it? And yes, and it's very, very convenient to have because, for example, this tube, if I look at it, I can't see if this is 40 or 45 mil, but I just put my finger on to count the dashes. It's 4, so this is a tube 40 mil. That's it. Just made this little tube. It's 16 centimeters long, for your information. It goes through the firewall and joins the top mount here. The other side, I am doing a lot of measurement and using all the lasers and degree inclinometers, everything to get everything in the same position, but it's really hard to get both of them in the same position and then add this tube because this has to move out to add the tube and blah blah blah. So there is a lot of moving parts. So if I fixate, it doesn't really matter exactly in which angle everything is because it's adjustable. It just has to be kind of in the ballpark. So I'm now aiming for 5.4 degree caster and 4 degrees roughly of camber. But I'm going to tack weld this small tube in place after I level the top mount. And then adjust that side to match this side. This side, as soon as it's welded in, it will be fixed, so it can't go anywhere. That will be then the point that I have to match the other side to, instead of trying to match both sides to each other while they're kind of, well, they are fixated, but free floating in the air. So let's fixate this one, make the front hoop then afterwards, and then copy this side to that side. And I'm going to do a lot of cross-referencing with the rear suspension mounts to have the camber degree and everything the same in all places. Okay, it's Christmas Eve today, so I'm not going to work all day long, but I did make a lot of progress today. So it's the strut are on this place, it's fixed, and that side it's also aligned. Oh, it's loose now, but it's, if I put one bolt back, it's aligned. I made the small tube on the other top mount, so this runs to the frame in the cabin. And but I'm going to finish that tomorrow. Now it's time to make some Christmas dinner. And that's it for now. So today has been quite some progress, and yesterday too. So that's the beauty about Christmas. No interruptions, everybody's busy, except for me. Well, I'm busy on this. Okay, so yesterday I made the frame, as I showed before, with the dashboard bar. And now the tubes run through the firewall to the top mounts that are now fully welded. I forgot that before, so I had to like grind away the tack welds and take everything apart and weld this small tube permanently with the TIG welder there. Then I could put everything back, rebuild the temporary alignment jig, realign everything. Luckily it was already quite well, just needed a few gentle taps with a hammer to be correct. Then I redid that hoop, and then I matched this hoop to that hoop. So that's done now, and I also put on the hood. I'll do that in. I'm holding my camera now, so I only have one hand left. I'll put on the hood because it like accidentally where it rests on this frame, it's exactly in the position it needs to be. It's exactly horizontal. Exactly lines up with this this part. So that's a very not on purpose, but it's very welcome. Then also I made this bottom tube. This one's temporary, just to be able to weld some jig stuff too, so I don't get all these like ground down tack welds everywhere. And then, well, the elephant in the room, the radiator. Made some mounts in the bottom from angle iron, and made some mounts here. They don't have holes yet, and they don't have an alignment pin. They're just held in place with these clamps right now. But the next thing on the list is to create something here, some kind of like probably temporary frame in this area to hold the pedal box. The pedal assembly, I could better call it. It's not really a pedal, it doesn't matter. And if that's in place, then I can make a sort of final position, seating position. And if that's done, I can work on the steering column that will probably go somewhere around here, or maybe just above I don't know yet. It really depends on a lot of factors. And that's going to run probably in between the throttle and the brake pedal. No, the clutch and brake pedal. It's now. So then there's already a hole here, so that's where it should be. And then there is the 240 steering rack that's going to be mounted on this axle. And if that's mounted to the top mounts, uprights, then everything will be able to steer. And then we have a car. So the rear already is able to stand on its own feet. The wheels have been on there. And the front soon will also have wheels. Yeah, that's exciting. So next video, wheels, steering, pedals, hopefully. But for now, the frame, well, the very basic shape is, well, complete, I guess. As said before, there needs to be a lot more triangulation. So for example, there's going to be a tube running from that corner up there to that corner. And there's going to be either a V like this, or an X cross shape. There is going to be two tubes that run from up there and up there down crosswise to here, where these clamps are. They're temporary mounts so I can rest the tubes on when working, but I don't have enough tubes right now. That's going to be one. There is going to be a tube that runs from here to here for a little bit of extra triangulation in the rear frame. And that's going to be removable, because I kind of like the idea of having this opening here so I can completely put my body inside and work on the engine or whatever systems necessary. But if I put a big tube there, it's not going to really help in that. Also tabs on that side, both sides, and then a removable tube. I think that would be nice. What else? Oh, and then obviously a door cross. But that's going to be one of the very final things that I'm going to add, because accessibility without the door cross is obviously a lot easier to work on the car. And also it's kind of hard to build, because I want to do this very special shape. And this bar here and that bar there, they don't line up in the way. They have different angles. So the tubes are going to run like this, down, straight, up, and up, straight, down. But also they have to have a little bit more angles, and I'm not sure how to best do that. But I'm going to consult Matthias Ledin for this. Maybe we just bring the car over there, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to 3D scan and draw something up. I'm going to talk to Matthias and see. Probably it's going to be something like this with a small bend in the end to just have everything lined up. The front will get a crossbar here as soon as I know where the... well, I actually know already. This line is where the hood ends. And so it's probably going to be just around here. So I can mount the hood latch that's now currently mounted to this front panel. I actually would like to mount it to the frame itself, so it's a little bit more stiff. And then one, well, big problem. It's not a really big problem, but this is the front panel, and that's where the radiator lives. And as you can see, this shape of front panel is not very good shape for to be a grill. So there probably needs to be some air openings in there. And that's going to be, I don't want to mess up the styling, the dorky look from this car too much. I don't want to be too much of a race car on the outside, only on the inside. So this is going to be, I probably have to do Photoshop, but it's probably going to be like 4 holes with some like beveled edges, 3D printed or whatever, or maybe some like vertical slots. I don't know. Depends. I have to do some Photoshop probably to figure out what's nice. But yeah, let's put on the panels so you guys have a little bit more idea what the front's going to look like. And then I'm done blabbering, and that will be the end of this video. So thanks for watching again. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends, your grandma, your parents, your neighbors, the neighbors' dogs, your colleagues, co-workers, the mailman or woman, your gynecologist, your hairdresser about this project, and have them also like and subscribe, because that helps really. It really does. So, okay, bye bye. The hood. So as you can, well, I don't know if you can see, but this like perfectly lines up with everything, so that's really nice. Starts to look like a car again, a little bit, but yeah, it works.